I had the delight of introducing Professor Han Udechukwu this morning. Thank you so much for agreeing to join us. I am so excited. My heart is full. Now I'll go on to read Professor Han's bio. Professor Han Udechukwu is an accomplished educator, nursing professor, and faith-led wellness advocate with a passion for empowering women to rediscover themselves and live with intention. She serves as a nursing professor at Denver College of Nursing, where she's dedicated to shaping the next generation of nurses. And through excellence in education, clinical insight, and mentorship. Beyond the classroom, Professor Han is the founder and host of Be Well and Grow, a platform and podcast dedicated to helping women pause, realign, and grow spiritually, emotionally, and personally. Through her work, she creates space for honest conversations about identity, purpose, healing, and wholeness. She's also the author of the upcoming book, Make Room, a transformative message encouraging women to reclaim space for themselves and live intentionally. As a wife of 20 years and a mother of 4, Hannah understands the delicate balance of nurturing others while learning to make room for oneself. Our message is both relatable and transformative, calling women to step out of survival mode into a life of clarity, courage, and intentional growth. With a heart for impact and a commitment for authentic living, Hannah inspires women to reclaim their voice, honor their journey, and become the fullest version of who they were created to be. With joy in my heart and with a round of applause, I welcome Professor Han. The floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me here. Thank you, Dr. Botimi. I'm excited to be here. I am going to share my screen if that's okay. Let me pull it up. Are you able to see that?
It is coming up. Yes, we can see it now.
All right. Thank you for having me here. I'm really excited. And life is really, an interesting journey because I think Dr. Botimi and I just recently found ourselves in the same space. And I'm still navigating Denver, but God is very intentional. So thank you for having me. I want to talk about embracing the journey that we're all, the journey we're on, and releasing that fear and just taking care of you. Recently, I've been so passionate about what it really means to be a whole person, a whole individual. And as Dr. Gotimi said, I've been a wife for 20 years. It feels really long. It's going to be 20 years anniversary for us this year. And I have 4 kids, and I've had several things to do career-wise. And just lately on this 4th floor of life, I've just been so yearning to help women really find themselves early because it happened for me personally much later in life. And raising 2 daughters also became an inspiration for me. And I have really in-depth conversations with them that I want the next generation to be ready for the life ahead of them, the next generation of women. And so we sit and have this conversation a lot, how to juggle life. And I think I recently had one of them asked me, "You do it so well, but I've equally seen you, in your down moments. And, I just want to have it all too, Mom. I want to, have a family and have a career and all that." So, and that's where Make Room started from. And I also had I have, some younger ones in my life, younger ladies, and I think one of them is online. She probably ran off now. Just young moms and the ones that are trying to get married, and they all have questions as to what is marriage like? What's, motherhood like? And I just wanted to share that, to share my passion and, where I'm coming from in this phase of life. So thank you again for having me here. Um, Before I really go into my presentation, I kind of want to start with um, something I wrote in my journal in 2021. And that's going to, set a tone for everything we have to, that I have to talk about today. And it basically, I wrote in my journal in 2021 and I said, nobody told you it would feel like this. And this was one of those days where um, I was at my, lowest moment. Nobody told you that loving your child with everything you have could still leave you feeling like you're not enough. And nobody told you that you would grieve a life you did not lose, but that quietly, slowly changed shape around you. And nobody told you that you would love so fiercely and still feel so completely, utterly alone. And that was how I felt in that moment. And nobody told you that it is okay to say that loud. Nobody. So today I want to give you permission to say it if that's where you are. It's You're not complaining and you're really not ungrateful. But because what you carry actually deserves to be named, and what you carry deserves to be met by someone who understands, a community that sees you, and the truth that you do not have to disappear into this role. And I'm so glad to hear, I think it was, is it Antibola Adeshiyi that spoke earlier. And this community is necessary. And I'm glad that, you found yourself here. So my name is Anude. I know Dr. Beltimi introduced me. And again, I'm just so honored to be with you guys today. And before we go any further, I want to tell you who I
That's
am.
the edges before coming. Is this how you're starting? No, no, I'll take it off.
Me too. I think we're good now. Sorry
Okay.
about that.
No, that's
I'm sorry.
so I just want to talk a little bit about myself, not, the credentials, but just my story. I believe you deserve to know that, the person speaking to you is not standing outside of what a lot of us are walking through. I've actually been inside of it, and that's the testimony I want to share and also encourage us from. But for us to have a full picture, I actually started off my career as a middle school math and science teacher. And earlier on, I discovered something. I had a gift for reaching, children that others have written off, those ones that are labeled as intellectually disabled, the ones that sit in the back of your room in the classroom who learn differently. I could see them. I was able to reach them. And even prior to that, being a mom and raising my the first two kids, my mom would always say, you do, there's this magic you do at your kitchen table. No matter how difficult the content is, you're just able to break through to those kids. And so that gift kind of led me to pursue special education rather at UNC in Charlotte. Way in Charlotte at the time, and I found success in doing that. I later on become an instructional coach, helping teachers, training teachers to learn how to support their special education students. And so I started writing what we call in the United States your individualized educational plans, IEPs. I actually sat across so many parents. I went through this journey with a lot of them at the time as a professional, right, on the other side. Then I left the field to pursue a long-held dream of mine in healthcare. I initially wanted to go to med school. I was one of those science students that ran away after undergrad. I got married, life took a different journey, and I just, I put myself at the back of the burner. But, at some point, the dream started coming back. Like, not, I realized that I could become a practitioner without going back to medical school again at this point. So I went back to grad school and I did nursing and did my residency in oncology. And I was thriving, doing really well. But while working in the hospital system, my teacher self came back again and started showing itself again. And I noticed something as well while I was in grad school. I met a lot of adults that learned differently. And I equally saw how faculty struggled to reach them. So, that gift came back up again. And I wanted to go back to the classroom this time around as a nursing faculty and, helping us to shape the next generation of nurses. But because I also believe that, knowing content is one thing, being able to teach other people is a total different game. And I had it in me. And there's that funny quote as well that once a teacher, you're always a teacher. I just couldn't help it. I love teaching. So stay with me. There's a reason why I'm telling you this story. Um, Something happened in 2020 that changed everything. So we got blessed with our fourth child, a son. His siblings had waited for years because we had, so the oldest one is a boy, then two girls in the middle. My oldest one wanted a brother so bad, and God finally answered his prayer. We found out we were having a boy. And so we had a son in 2020. What should have been a season of pure joy slowly became a season of uncertainty. And at that time, if we all remember what was going on in 2020, we equally had COVID. And this was during the lockdown. This boy would not speak. And months passed. He was now meeting a lot of his milestones. And the silence kept stretching and stretching. Because I already made a transition from education, from K to 12 education at the time to healthcare system, believe me, everything that I was seeing in this kid, I wasn't even connecting my dots. I was just a mom. And you need to, everyone loved him. It was so cute, so adorable boy. You had lovers, so to say, everywhere, his aunties, and just because the age gap between him and the only boy at the time is actually 13 years. And he came out looking so much. My husband would say, he looks so much like my dad, who is no longer with us. So the journey started, and I had moments of fear, moments of doubt, and at times just moments of rage. Because we already had three kids, is what I kept telling myself. Like, was it even necessary? So that guilt came in, and it came in waves. I had moments where I felt, oh my God, the world is laughing at you guys. You have three old kids, and you guys decided to have a fourth one. And here you are, he wouldn't speak. Oh, he's probably autistic. It's probably this, and I started, thinking of what is life going to be like for this kid? What is life going to be like for us? Remember that I was a nurse, a trained special education professional at that time. I had all the knowledge, and still I was drowning. I had vague memories of his early years that if there's anything that really makes me emotional till date is that I really didn't enjoy his early years. It was all filled with, the the sadness, the uncertainty and fear. And all the pictures and even the good, all the pictures and milestones, both good and not so good, were with my oldest daughter, who from day one, the moment we got back from hospital, just took him in. She loved, she loves him. And so sometimes now she'll be the one to send me videos and be like, hey, I just found this video on my phone. This was Madhu 3 years ago. This was Madhu 5 years ago. And so eventually I found my support system. I started talking. I stopped keeping it to myself. Started telling family members, my parents, my in-laws, my prayer partners, and we created a support system, a village, because it became really obvious that we were about to embark on a journey. So we started the journey, and I was no longer going to be in denial of what was happening. We began speech therapy. We enrolled him in special education preschool in our city, in Lake Forest, Illinois. And one day I actually sat down across a very familiar table, the table that I had sat at hundreds of times as a professional. And I realized I was now on the other side. As a parent this time around, I'm receiving an individualized educational plan that I've written so many times for other parents. Something I've spent my own career writing for other people's children. And in that moment, something actually shifted. Two things happened. One, God reminded me that, and I take you through different seasons of life for different reasons. And some seasons of your life were not a waste. Because I wouldn't even tell people, oh, I was an educator or whatever. The moment I changed into healthcare system, now I would talk about it because I'm proud of being an educator. I was telling Dr. Beltimi, one of my prized possession or title is being a professor. That's my happy place. I love being in the classroom. But so that was one thing God told me, that daughter, all the season you've gone through in life is not a waste. At the time you actually didn't even understood what was happening. But you're coming, a full circle. So back to what I was saying. I was equally reminded that that season that I thought was a detour was actually a preparation for the journey, we're going to embark on. I quickly wiped my tears and became proactive. And our whole family went into a what's the game plan mode. We became really proactive. We all started learning sign language. He had an amazing speech therapist that would come to the house. He was getting speech therapy in school, but we equally, got him one who would come to the house 3 times a week. And all my boy could do at a time when he wants something is to sign and say out more. And so his siblings started learning. We'll go on YouTube because we want to communicate with him. And I think for us at that time, we were ready and determined that whatever it would take for my little Madhu to have any form of normalcy in life, that's what we're going to do. If we all have to learn how to sign, that's what we're going to do. And so we started learning sign language. We leaned into every resource and every tool that was available. I want to tell you that my Madhu today is 6 years old. He is speaking. He's been diagnosed with ADHD. He sees the world differently. His brain, extraordinary. And guess what? He's shed a few labels along the way because I'm going to talk to us about label. And my boy is a work in progress, just like all of us. So I'm not here as an expert looking at you from outside. I'm here as a woman, a mom, a mother who has sat exactly where a lot of people are sitting today. I want us to start by saying something I need you to actually receive today. Not just here, I want you to receive it, write it down somewhere, highlight it for yourself. what everyone is doing as a caregiver is extraordinary. Every early morning before appointment begins, every therapy session you've researched, scheduled, and sat through, every form that you filled out, every school meetings that you've attended, every night you lay awake wondering if you made the right decision for this child, and every moment you've set aside what you wanted so you could show up for your child, that is real, and you're seen. We see you. This community see you. And yet I know that many of us are, we're also carrying something that is very difficult to say out loud. That was why I wanted to read what I wrote in my journal 2021. I realized that grief that does not have a clear name, a clean name, really, it's a grief of life, that is filled with a lot of anger, rage. And so writing it down, naming it, not running away from it, is actually very important. The grief of watching other children hit milestones that your child is still working towards. The grief of plans changed, dreams postponed, friendships that faded because your life became so consuming. I barely had time for anyone. There was no room left for ordinary things. There's so many events that you can't even take the kid to your child to, right? That grief is actually not weakness. And like I said earlier, I don't want you to see it as an ingratitude. It is honest, right? It is the honest cost of loving someone so deeply through something just so difficult. And it deserves to be named. I want us to name it. Again, grief that is named can be processed. The grief that you swallowed becomes something else entirely. Anxiety, numbness, resentment, burnout. And none of those serve you or your child. It doesn't. So one of the most important things you can do as a caregiver is to give yourself permission to say it. It's okay. Find your community and say, this is difficult. This is hard. This is not what I imagined at all. And in that same token, I'm still here. I'm still showing up. I'm still loving, and that's all that matters. I want to talk about labeling because I know as parents, we're so afraid of diagnosis. The moment someone hands you a piece of paper that puts a name to what you have been observing in your child, oh my goodness, everything feels more real, more final, like the finality to that thing, and just more frightening. I remember when we sat across a pediatrician and it's like, and I need you to stop going into your textbook because I've gone back and forth with them on, is it this? Is it that? When we were finally told that Madhu had ADHD, I was like, For me, yes, it felt like something hit me in my gut. But at the same time, I was finally okay to have something that I could now work with. I don't know if that makes sense to you, like something I can finally hold on to work with. And so I understand that feeling. I have lived it. But I actually want to offer us something different, a different way of seeing it today. You know how I see label diagnosis now? I see them as not being a ceiling. You know what a ceiling is? Like we're all sitting in a room that has a ceiling. It contains us. It puts us in a box. The way I see label or diagnosis is that it's a map. It's a GPS. Now I have something to navigate my journey. It tells you where you are. It tells you what tools your child needs. It opens doors to resources, therapies, support programs, even legal protections, depending on where you are in the world, that your child might not otherwise have access to. Without the label, without your GPS, your navigator, you're just navigating with no clear direction. But with it in your hands, you can begin to find the right roads, the right path for your child, for yourself. I want to tell you about someone else in my life that actually paved way for Madu. We have a niece in the family who's also on the autism spectrum. From the beginning, her parents were faced with a choice that every parent in this room, everywhere, understands. They could either resist the diagnosis that they got, or they could minimize it. They could equally be afraid of what the label would mean for their daughter's future, or they could lean in. And guess what they did? They leaned right in. They embraced the journey. They fought for her, not gently, but with everything they had. I remember when her elementary school did not have a special education program equipped to serve her, they actually did not accept it. They went to the school district. They went to the education boards in Florida. They advocated, not just for their daughter, but for every child in that community who deserved a better special education program at that time. And they were able to help bring back a stronger program for their school. They fought, right? Because they believed the label did not define the limits. Like I said, it's not a ceiling. It's not containing this kid. They believed that this girl was more than just that diagnosis, and the diagnosis could not contain her. Today, this girl is actually studying electrical engineering at the University of Memphis. She has become an advocate herself. I love seeing her. This is a very close family that we do life together. We see them at least maybe 3 times a year. And my oldest son is in college with her parent in Florida now, because they are his godparents. So very close family. And every time I would see her, she would come to me and give me a hug and say, "Auntie, thank you for all you do for Madu. He's going to be okay. He's going to be fine." She still has all the quirks and some of the hallmarks of autism. She could barely stand still. She's learned herself because the parents helped her navigate this journey. And like I said earlier, she's still a work in progress. She loves to walk around with her headphones a lot because she gets overly stimulated easily. And you could see her in family functions sometimes when everybody is so large. You know how we Africans are, when we all get together. You could just find her in one corner with a headphone, just trying to find her serenity, right? Her peace. I would go sit next to her sometimes and be like, "Hey, girl, you doing okay?" She'd be like, "Yes, Auntie, I'm fine. It was just so loud over there," right? Um, so she's doing really well. And she's using her voice to speak up for other children on the spectrum. She's telling her own story. She's part of I think it's the National Black Student Engineering Association in the US that she's part of. I was in Illinois last year, spring, and she called me and she said, "Auntie, I'm at this event for young Black engineers," and I was so proud of her. Of course, she came with one of the parents, but she's navigating life. You know why? Because she has a map, the diagnosis, the label. She's using it as a navigation system, not as a containment or a ceiling. I want to go a little deeper here because I know that for many of us, the label did not come with a clean emotion. And I do understand and respect that everyone's journey, story, that's why autism is a spectrum, right? It's not the same. I get it. And I know for a lot of people, the label came with a lot of questions. It came with, some quiet ones too, some private fear that you have never said out loud. What will people think of my child? What will his future look like? Those were my own questions. Will he be accepted? Will he ever live independently? I actually play that scenario over and over again in my head. Because I had him when I had him late, I had him much older. And so I kept thinking at some point in his life, who is going to take care of him? Who is he going to live with? Oh, thank God he has three older ones. But with the word, be kind to him. And these are questions that, Mario and I still navigate as of recent, been in kindergarten. We've had days of, being bullied in school, and we come home and we have to talk about it. He's so kind-hearted. And I want to say that those are not weak questions. Those are questions of a mother who, loves a child so deeply that the thought of the word just being unkind to your kid, it's physically painful. You can feel it. And I want you to hear me that those questions are very valid. They do not make you feel faithless if you're a faith person. They actually make you human. The label does not write the end, like I said. You do not get to see the full picture yet. I don't have the full picture for my kid yet, even though he's talking. None of us do. What looks like a limitation today may be the very thing that makes your child extraordinary tomorrow. Because the world is fast changing. We just need to tap into their minds, right? Because they see the world very differently. The way their brain works, the way they process the world. I recently found out that Madu is very good with math. You want to get him to sit down and write. It's like he gets bored easily. You want him to think abstractly with very complex math. He will do it for you. So if all I get with him is just that 1 minute of saying, hey, son, what is 21 plus 7? Or make it complicated for him. Tell him what is 21 plus 12? And he starts to tell you, oh, your 21, he's not writing it down. He's just talking to you. Your 21 has 2 groups of 10. So I'm going to put that aside. Now I have a 1 standing alone. Okay. And on this other side, there's a 12. There's another group of 10. I can take that 10 and put it next to the friends over there, the groups of 10. Now we have a 30. It starts to break things down and he arrives at an answer. I don't need him to write it down, stack it up, And having this label has helped the school realize that, yes, that's how he learns. So teachers have adjusted. You don't need to keep him at a desk. Don't confine him. If he wants to sit on the carpet and learn, let him be. So we have a plan put in place for him. Do you guys know that some of the most innovative minds in human history would today be sitting in a special education classroom? And I'll make you guys laugh and say, with Madu in my life, we actually found out that his older brother might be on the spectrum, but undiagnosed. And to go deeper, my husband, if he grew up in the United States of America, would have been diagnosed and put on the spectrum. He has his quirks. If you've ever met him, he's quiet, he's awkward, and he has some repetitive things that he does that his wife has. I'm like, why do you do these things? It's beginning to make sense to me that you're actually trying to self-suit yourself. And he told me, he said, as a kid, I didn't understand. They just thought I was very smart. I'm a genius. And so they let me be. But it's like life was very lonely because, I just felt weird, awkward, out of place. Some of the greatest artists, engineers, advocates, change makers in the world carry the same diagnosis as our kids. They did not succeed in spite of who they are. They succeeded because of it. Because someone in their life refused to let a label become a limit. And that someone is you today. That someone is me. I also want to speak practically for a moment, because leaning into a label is not just an emotional or philosophical decision. It is a strategic one. For me, it was strategic. In most countries, right, a formal diagnosis is the key that unlocks a set of legal rights and protection for your child. And that's one thing I've been advocating for in the United States currently, is that you need documentation. Don't run away from it. Don't let it scare you. It's actually good. My son in college right now, if there's anything he would have loved for me to do differently for him, we had this deep conversation one time. And he said, Mom, you've managed me so well. And you're still managing me. I'm still very close to him. As a matter of fact, I have his schedule. I'm his alarm clock. He's a 19-year-old boy. To so many, oh, he should know better. You don't need to be. No, he needs me because of its attention span, not because of behavior. AJ checks in with me from time to time. He'll be like, Mom, it's just a mental check-in. I'll be like, okay, let's talk in the next 5 minutes. What's going on with you? What do you need from Mom? Right? I've become his therapist. I wish I could read some of our text messages next, maybe if I get to come back. It would just unload what is going on with him. I have 3 assignments. I'm tired. I'm exhausted. I have to do them. What do you think? What should I be prioritizing first? And honestly, Madhu has a clearer path now than his big brother. Because Madhu now has an IEP that he gets to hold on to, and you bet this mama bear is going to fight to keep it. Because he gets to have additional testing time. He gets to have extra time for his assignments. He might not need it all the time. I'm just saying that these are some of the advantages that comes with it. He gets his accommodation. The United States Individual Disability Education Act here in the US, the IDEA, actually guarantees that every child with a qualifying disability the right to your free, appropriate public education tailored to them. It's individualized. And that's the IEP that I sat across as a parent, that I wrote myself. It's a legal document. It's a protection for your kid. It's a promise, right, from the system that your child will not be left behind. That's what led the young lady I talked about to University of Memphis studying electrical engineering with autism. But you have to show up to claim it. You have to know your rights. You have to be in the room. You have to ask questions, push back sometimes when things don't seem right. And as someone who has sat on both sides of the table, as a special education professional who wrote IEPs for years, and as a mom who receives them now, I want to tell you something that not every professional will say out loud. You're not a guest at that table. I now have friends in my life with kids on the spectrum that I actually help prepare them before they go for those meetings. You need to know your right. You know your child in ways that no evaluation can fully capture. Do not shrink in that space. Show up prepared. Bring your questions, bring your observations. And if something doesn't sit right with you, say no. The label is not your enemy, it's the door. And you're the one who gets to decide what happens on the other side of it. I also want to say this is not a sprint. It's a life. It's a journey. One of the most important shifts I want to invite you to make today is from that crisis mindset to a journey mindset, because this is not going to be over in one day. We're in for a long haul. This is a life we're talking about. You know what a crisis mindset says all the time? How do I fix this? How do I get through this? When will this be over? But a journey mindset says this is our life, and we're going to live it as fully as we possibly can. We're not running from it. So embracing the journey does not mean pretending it's easy. That's not what we're saying, right? It does not mean denying those difficult days or just performative positivity that you do not feel. That's not what I'm talking about. It simply means deciding consciously, deliberately, that you would not put your life on hold, waiting for a version of normal that may never come. I love my kid today. I embrace today. I am not just waiting for something to change. And for me, it means celebrating the small wins as loudly as the big ones. The first time you spoke a word, the first successful morning routine, the first time your child make a friend, or communicated a need, or surprised you in a way you did not see coming. Those moments are not small. And I know you know that. Those moments are actually everything. It means building a life that has joy in it, not just appointments, and therapies, and advocacy meetings, but moments of laughter, of rest, of pleasure, of connection. A life that is actually worth living, not just worth surviving. So I think about my own son. I think about my Maju. The journey has not always been easy. There were seasons that barely recognized myself, but there were also moments of such profound beauty. Watching his face light up when he finally signed a word, hearing his voice for the first time, seeing his siblings rally around him with such fierce and protective love. I would not trade that for anything. I would not trade it for this journey for anything. The journey has shaped us, has shaped me, deepened me. It revealed things equally in me that I did not know were there. And I believe the same is true for you. And I want to talk about you, the caregiver. I want us to get practical. Your well-being is not optional. It's actually the foundation, right? I know that for many of you, the idea of self-care sounds like luxury you cannot afford. And I want to dismantle that belief today. You cannot give what you do not have. And a depleted caregiver, no matter however much you love, you have less to offer than the caregiver who has tended to our own needs. So taking care of yourself is not selfish. It is not an indulgence. It is the most strategic thing you can do for your child. I tell mothers all the time, you need your me time. You need that time out. So I'm going to talk about 6 real practical techniques you can begin to use this week, today. Not someday, but this week. The first one, name it before you manage it. Once a week, even just for 5 minutes, write down what you're feeling without editing it. I've been journaling for a while. I got married, I kept journaling. It's going to be 20 years anniversary for us today. I can go back into my journal and appreciate some not so good seasons, some good seasons, because you know how life is. It's the ups and the downs. But if I'm not naming it and writing it down and allowing it to be raw, there's nothing to go back to, right? And it's not for anyone else to read. It's just for you. So name your emotions, and naming your emotions is not weakness. It is the first step to not allowing yourself to be controlled by them. I do it with my kids. If you can name how you feel, not I'm just mad, I'm upset. Take a deep breath. What exactly is your need? Communicate that. And studies have actually shown that labeling emotions helps us reduce the intensity. It helps your brain move from your reactive mode to more of a responsive mode. And secondly, I want you to protect one non-negotiable pocket of time for yourself. It does not have to be long. It could be 15 minutes of quiet before the house wakes up. I did that this morning. It's been a really busy week, and it's about to be a busy day for me. But I got up early, and I had my me time. I had a nice cup of coffee because that was what I needed. I sat at my dining table and just stare outside. Denver is beautiful. We're here in Denver. And I'm taking in the mountains and the view out here. And I just sat there for 15 minutes. Nothing on my mind, really. But the house is quiet. Kids still sleeping. Husband still snoring. There's nobody to make demands on me at that moment. It's just about me. Let me just sit there with my thoughts for 15 minutes. It could be a walk alone, a lunch break. How many of you guys take yourself out for lunch, dinner? No friends invited? Just you? Because you deserve it? Yes. Doesn't have to be expensive, right? Go get French fries by yourself and just sit and enjoy it. So it's your me time. The other thing I like to do is one weekly phone call with a friend who asks how you really are and you actually answer. Think about that. Let me say that again. Not a friend that you call and say, hey, Tammy, how are you? And now you have to take care and tender, help, fix them. Find one friend. I have that. She was out of the country recently. And when she came back, I was like, I miss you so much. Because I just needed to call. I was driving back from work, and it was one of those moments where I just want to call. And when she gets my call, she knows what it is. I don't need her to fix me. She just stays on the other side of the phone and just listen. Like, how are you, sis? Find one person. That time is not just a reward for getting everything done. Schedule it. Number 3, build your village intentionally. Isolation is one of the greatest risks for caregivers. You were not designed to do this alone. Identity is needed. So find 3 people. You don't need a whole lot. Find 3 people in your life, a friend, a family member, a fellow caregiver. It's very important. Someone that can identify with what you're going through, who you can call on a very difficult day. And if you don't have those people yet, find a caregiver support groups, online communities like the one you're in. I'm so proud to, be a part of this today and just see what you guys are doing here, Dr. Botimi. This is amazing because caregivers need it. Parents networks, like the one we're part of right now. Community is not a luxury. It is medicine. You need it. Nobody can be an island. Isolation is not good. And number 4, I want you to learn to advocate without apology. You are your child's most important advocate. Do not wait for the system to come to you. I started researching this week because of this program, resources in Nigeria. I remember about, I think 10 years ago, I have one of my sister-in-laws in Nigeria who is a principal. She visited and we started talking about special education in the United States. And I was telling her what we do here, the resources and all that. And at the time, so I think this was about 10 years ago, she said, we don't have a lot of resources yet in Nigeria. This issue is still a taboo. A lot of families are still dealing with this kids like it's just a behavior issue. You're spanking them. It's just things are still not being taken care of the way we're doing it out here. So we started talking, and so I researched this week actually. I found a few now popping up everywhere. There's a guy in, I think, Lagos that it's an amazing speech therapist. And his technique might look unconventional to you, but amazing. I saw a video of him working with a kid with Down syndrome, and it made sense to me. I was glued to the video. It made sense to me as an healthcare practitioner myself, in how he was helping them relax some of the muscles on their face and the mouth. It's amazing. But I believe that all these things are happening now because there are parents who are fighting fiercely, advocating. So there's a place for you. There's a place for you and I. Ask questions, request evaluation, go to your state government, ask, what can we do? How can the government steps in? Maybe we need programs in schools. You don't have to group them all together. One size does not fit all anymore. And number 5, I want you to celebrate progress, not perfection. Remember, it's a journey. It's not a sprint. This is a life. Comparison is one of the most toxic habits for caregivers. Your child's journey is not meant to look like someone else's child's journey. There's something I do for my kids. I'm so protective of them. When family members ask, how are they doing? They're fine. Thank you. I hesitate to share their educational wins, their athletic wins, and there's a reason. Because I don't want you to have to want to compare them with other kids in the family. I've seen that growing up in a Nigerian household and what that does to even siblings who became really competitive. Oh, my child have to be better than yours. So I learned that quickly. I just do not compare. Set goals that are meaningful for your child specifically and celebrate every step towards them, however small. Progress is progress. A first word at 4 is just as worthy of celebration as a first word at 1. My kid didn't really speak till it was almost 3. Let yourself feel the joy of it. And lastly, I want to say rest without guilt, mothers, caregivers. Rest is not giving up. Rest is how you stay in the game for a long haul. Sleep matters, your downtime matters, laughter matters. Allow yourself to have an evening where you watch something you enjoy. Go read a book, go sit in the quiet. You've earned it, and you don't even have to earn rest. You're a human being, you're not a machine. And the most sustainable caregivers are the ones who have learned that rest is part of this work. So I want to close by saying something directly to you. You're doing one of the hardest, most difficult things a human being can do. You are loving someone through complexities, very complex, and uncertainty, through a journey that did not come with a roadmap. No child really comes with a, what do we call it, a manual. When I had my first kid, I cried because my parents, were not here in North America. My mom was not here in North America at the time. And we had this boy, the nurse gave him to me, said, here you go. They don't come with a map. This was in Los Angeles. So I'm looking at her like, so cold, so mean. What do I do with this little human? You're also a person with needs, with dreams, with a life that deserves to be lived fully, not just managed, not just survived, but fully lived. So I want to beg you guys, do not disappear into this role. Take up space, ask for help, rest without guilt, celebrate small things loudly, build your village, fight for your child without abandoning yourself as well. And remember that the label is not the limit, the diagnosis is not our destination. My niece is studying electrical engineering. My son is 6 years old and is speaking. The story is still being written for them, for my child, for your child, and for you. But I want to close with a declaration, and I'm going to ask everyone to, say that with me out loud, or if you want to whisper, I have it on the screen. Are we ready?
Yes, we are.
Okay. So I am more than my caregiver role.
More than my caregiver role.
My child is more than their diagnosis.
My child is more than their diagnosis.
We are both still becoming.
We are both still becoming.
And I am allowed to hope.
And I'm allowed to hope.
We're going to do it one more time. I am more than my caregiver role.
I am more than my caregiver role.
My child is more than their diagnosis.
My child
is more than
is diagnosis.
We are both still becoming.
We are still both becoming.
And I am allowed to hope.
And I am allowed to
And I'm allowed to hope.
Amazing. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you for being here. Thank you for showing up for yourself, even for 30 minutes or 40 minutes. Thank you so much, Dr. Botimi and I think Auntie Bola Adishi. Thank you. And there's something I always like to say if you watch my podcast, because it's a
It's Auntie
fun.
Bola Odetokun.
Oh, Auntie Bola, they took it. Yes, ma'am.
And you can drop the ant, okay?
Oh, I love it.
I do too.
I love it. I love it.
Thank you.
Yes, I'm Yoruba, married to an Igbo guy, so I understand respect. Yes, and if you watch my podcast, I always love to handle my conversations with. I want you to be well and grow. Thank you so much, everyone.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much. Thank you so much,
I
Professor
did put a
Han.
link. I'm so sorry, Dr. Bottom. I put a link in the chat.
Do you want me to share?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, you can, take your time and write your thoughts down. It's a little questionnaire for yourself. Thank you, guys.
Oh, thank you so much. My heart is full. I don't know about other people on the call, but I could sit here and go on for hours and listen to you. Thank you so much for sharing your stories of hope. And thank you so much for inspiring us again. Um, I could just wish that I was just wishing that you were on the call 2 weeks or 3 weeks ago when we were talking about school resources, just navigating the educational system was the topic we were talking about 3 weeks ago. And we heard Sister Chioma share the horrors of navigating the educational system for children on the spectrum in the US. Like sometimes we even have this IEPs and it feels like, no, this is not even helpful. Like, how do I even stand up to face these people to say, no, I know my child. I know that you are putting her in a special education program, but I know that this child can do more than you are challenging her in to do. And that was the conversation we had last week. And just hearing you say that again sounds like, oh, yes, we are having the right conversations, we are saying the right things, and we are encouraging ourselves to stand up. I like when you had mentioned that you were not a guest on the table. You are equally a professional. You are the one who knows this child best. You are the one who's able to say, no, I know my child. I live with this child every day, and this is what I think would benefit this child. I can go on and on and on, but I just truly want to say thank you, thank you, thank you for being so open and vulnerable with us also, sharing your stories, with so much grace and encouraging moms to also stand up and share their story. Remember when I was talking to you about this, that my hope is that every one of us on this group will be able to sit in that chair you're sitting in right now and be able to share our stories with grace and be able to say that this wasn't easy, this was overwhelming, this was hard. I felt like running away. I felt like giving up. I felt like, can I just give this child to someone else? Not because I don't love my child, but because it was just too much for me. And there was no manual. Nobody was holding my hands. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to hope for. I worry about the future, but I just don't have a space to share this. My hope is that every single mom, every single one of on this call can create that space for themselves and be able to share their stories without any form of apology, to say, this is my life, this is my story, and I am living this life one day at a time without apologizing at all, without even asking for anyone's excuse to live my life or permission to live my life. Thank you so much. We would open it up for questions. If you have any questions or comments or anything that, is just, boiling in your heart that you would like to share with the group before we end it today. Aunties, sisters, mommies, please do not keep quiet. This is a conversation that we have been having, like it's an ongoing conversation. And like I tell everyone on this call, like people will constantly join us, that this is a space that we are deliberate and intentional about. This is a safe space to share. This is a safe space to learn. And this is a safe space to hold each other's hands. Like Prof. Han had mentioned, that you need your community. You cannot journey alone. You cannot walk this journey alone. It's not anything anyone could do by themselves. So please, the floor is for us. Unmute and let us hear from you. Yes, Sister Chema, I trust you. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon, Doctor. Oh, good morning, Dr. Ernest. It was such an absolute pleasure to hear your talk. My eyes were just filled with tears as you were speaking, and towards the end, I sort of wrote down everything because, funny enough, I'm doing my PhD and I'm taking in English, but I'm working on a novel that centers disability studies. So I had to take some courses in disability studies. All of this to say, I have a paper coming up and it's going to be centering caregiving. So many of your comments and advice will help and I will sort of work them in. But I do want to also talk about the challenges in building community. So many of us are recent immigrants, often and for instance, I moved across the country. I moved from upstate New York down here to Utah, and I'm still basically trying to get to know people. So you know how it is, the risk of rejection because people think what your child has is catching, or infectious. And often even the rejection will be extended to your other neurotypical children because, there's that assumption that whatever it is probably runs in the family. Some people will say, well, maybe it's spiritual, it's demonic. And so I'm wondering, how did you navigate those tensions? And how did you, of course, if you've been in one place for a long time, it will be easy to find that space. The funny thing is, the people that I've actually found who have sort of opened their arms to me are mothers whose children are on the spectrum. And we're in Utah, which is predominantly white, so they're mostly Oyibo people. And you would think that your own Africans would be the ones that would, but yeah, we have African friends, we have Nigerian friends, to be fair, but it's because of that proximity and experiences. It's mostly the Igbo people. Right. And often the cultures are a little different. Like I was talking with one other mother and she was like, I was talking to her about anxiety and how, sometimes it just makes my brain freeze. Like something happens and you can't even react because you're like, what should you even prioritize? Your pride, your child's needs, what are even their needs? What is my situation as an immigrant? What reaction might even warrant, bring harm to my family? So you're having all of those thoughts that just sort of make you have this rabbit in the headlights.
Yeah.
And it's just, and sometimes you're like, God, what kind of life? Why, what did I do? What have we done? It is hard on very many levels because you're not just a minority of minorities. You're not just Black, you're a woman, and then you're what's it called? You're an immigrant. So you're the bottom of the pile, and you're the receiving end of everybody's rage. Wow. So you're aware of all of those things. And then you're then carrying special needs parenting on top of it. So you're segregated within segregated communities, within segregated and segregated within those segregated communities. So it's just terribly, terribly, terribly hard. Yeah. And so now back to the Oyibo woman who was telling me, what I did, of course, her own issues might have been different because, of course, she's white, she's indigenous to this place, New Mexico, but her family is here and it's been here for hundreds of years or so. So she was like, you know what, I got on propanol. And I was like, oh, God, do I want to start taking meds for... Is this a temporary problem? And very many doctors in the University of Utah Health Hospital have always said, well, you're carrying so much, you could just get on medication. And I was like, that's not how we do things and I feel like if I was back home in Nigeria and I've been looking back to my safety years, we're doing well in Nigeria and I'm like, what am I even doing here? And I remember that the community was just medicine, like you said. I love what you said, community as medicine. And I've been feeling that intense loneliness. And Sister Lady is on the call. She's the one that I usually call, and she's terribly, terribly busy. And then Sister Botami too, from time to time, I would call them and And it is hard. It is very
Yeah,
hard. I was
it
telling
is.
Sister Botemi the other time that the doctor looked at my 8-year-old autistic child and said, she's chubby, she's hairy, but I can see some signs of pubic hair. You should start thinking about what's it called? Birth control. I was like, Blood
Contraceptives.
of Jesus. How can you be telling me? So I was like, I was shocked. I had that rabbit in the headlights experience. I was shocked. I couldn't process it for 2 weeks, my sister. I was like, I don't think I feel like my body now is just in a very unhealthy place because you don't even know how to react, and it takes you 2 weeks. Like I told my husband after 2 weeks, the endocrinologist just called me and said I should schedule a visit for them to check her hormones so that they can figure out what birth control the doctor would want to put on her. I was like, and then I had a stress dream that night about eugenics and all of that, like when World War II, and I was like, oh God, I am not normal. So I went and met my husband. I was like, I need help. This is what's happened. And he was like, but you just said they were going to do something to put off puberty. I was like, yeah, what did you think that was? Tylenol? Of course, they would put birth control on her. That's what they used to put off puberty. So all of this to say, I know they said when it's a boy on the spectrum is different. It's a different kind of hard, but I've just been overwhelmed. The woman I asked, who has a daughter, is Indian, and I think for like 1 month, she just started keeping her distance, and she told me it was for a different reason. But I felt like, oh God, they are blocking me because I've asked somebody else, have you heard the same thing? So all of this boils back to the community, how difficult it is, how much people can share. I do follow podcasts, but there's a difference. Like people don't really share certain things. But anyway, I'll just stop there. I'm just saying, I am overwhelmed. and you can do
Mama,
all that you can.
I hear you, and you're seeing. Remember when I started speaking, I say you're seeing because I want you to feel that, and that's from the bottom of my heart. Is it okay if I call you Chioma?
Yes,
Yes.
please.
Okay. The one thing I want to correct the notion is that what does a community look like? What does it need to look like? And I would be honest and say I've equally moved around a lot. I grew up in Canada, actually. I grew up in Ottawa and came to the United States in '06 for my husband's work after, his grad school. So we've done Los Angeles 5 years, stayed in Seattle 5 years. We've moved around almost every 5 years. So I understand what it means to like start all over everywhere you get to. And I recently just moved to the Denver area. If you ask me if I have a community right now in Denver, I would say no. But what does a community mean to you? What does it have to look like? What's a community? I think after 2020, we all started realizing something that a community doesn't necessarily have to be people you're seeing in person. Because even people in your city might not have time for you. My community hasn't really changed over the years because I've kept my village. Remember when I say you have to be intentional about your village, build it and hold on to it. I understand that, you've been in Utah, you want maybe people you can get together with that have the same, maybe other caregivers like yourself, other moms navigating this. It takes time. I'm one of those people that when I get to a new place, I take my time. And there's a reason why you have to take your time. You cannot just open your child to just anybody, right? Like you have to be very, very protective. My advice to you will be that, first of all, I don't want you to feel like your community needs to just be the Nigerian community. The reason why I'm saying that is because from what I have experienced, sometimes you're not even able to really communicate what's going on with your child with our community. I cannot tell you how many times I've been met with, you go and pray, Noni. You pray. Well, which one is ADHD? They minimize you, they shut you down. But over the years, I've just learned to, the moment I say something and somebody, meets me with, that dismisser, what's it called, statement, I keep quiet. I go back to my village. You don't get, I don't take it personal. I'm not getting offended with them because think about it. Everybody is operating from the level of what they know and understand. But in order for me to help my own child, I needed to step out of my Nigerian community, and I'll be honest with you. A lot of the experts around me were non-Nigerians. A lot of Madu's friends didn't look like him, but they were his friends. A lot of the mothers that I related with in Illinois were not Blacks. If not for HIPAA violation, I would have posted some pictures from his time in Chicago. We were always the only Black one in that group, but he had fun. My kid got what he needed from every session we went for, every play date we went for. As a matter of fact, I remember his 5th birthday. There was no single Black kid at his birthday because all his friends from his preschool special education program were white, and that was fine. They were jumping around, they were being free, doing their own thing. I want to be in a room with people that understand my emotions, that I can cry with and understand me. I don't want to be in a room with people that looks like me, but does not understand me or relate with me. So I don't know if that answers your question, Mama. Be careful what you're looking for in a community. And that's just your Nigerian community, yes, we're not there yet, is what I'm saying. We're catching on. We will get there where we can now, maybe Dr. Botimi and the likes can, start having play dates. Because I think what I'm hearing Sister Chioma says, I want this kid to be around other people that look like him. I want to be around other mothers where we can just be as brutally honest as possible without us bringing tradition and our culture and all those biases into it. We will get there, but until then, Sister Chioma, if the closest person in your community to you is an Indian person, and that's all you can find in Utah right now, I would say lean into it and embrace it. Okay, remember that this journey is so much for this kid than it's for you as the parent. You don't need to necessarily even like the parents. I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to say. You're there for your child, right? You're there for your child. So I don't know if I answered your question, but I hear you, Mama. It's hard. It's and when you touched on the poverty blockers, I would just say that this is also where you need your village. Find medical people in your circle and just, ask questions. Should I do it? Should I not do it? Just hearing it, it scares you, but you might be surprised to hear from experts that will say this might serve this child better at the long run. Look at all the positives and the negatives of things. You might not find that in Utah, and it's okay. Reach out to people and say, hey, is there any medical person in your circle that I can speak to? I just need 10 minutes to know if this is something I should be doing or not. That's what we do. And I have a few in my circle if you want to talk. Your propranolol that you talked about, at a low dose, it's not bad. You're going through a lot, and it's not one of those medications, it's a beta blocker. It's not one of those things that you get dependent on. If that's what you need as a caregiver to be able to think right, and you're also a student, is what I'm hearing. You're wearing so many hats. Take care of you. That's all I can say.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'll be happy to speak with the, medical people,
Yeah.
Even though I don't know that. The woman said something like IUD. I was like, for an 8-year-old, even I as an adult,
Yeah.
like,
No. And I also want you to know that it's a general, I don't know, because I have two older daughters who are teenagers. I have a 17 and a 13-year-old. It's actually a very common thing here in the US where once the kids get into puberty, they start talking to them about birth control pills. So my daughters, that was a conversation that we had. And I know that they have cousins that already went on the pill. And the way they usually get them is telling them that it helps reduce the pain that you go through and the discomfort. My oldest one is like, she's like our mom. She gets really bad cramps and heavy flow. But I sat my child down and I said, listen, I'm a mom today with four. I'm not saying not going on birth control pills. I mean, there are different, and we actually even also had TMI, secondary infertility at some point, but that's not the point. I just explained to her why this is part of what makes you a woman. And with me being present in your life or absent, I do not want you to get on a birth control pill. You can do it for family planning purposes, but you're a young girl. So what we've done is the moment she knows our cycle, and I tell her to take Advil instead of Tylenol because really what brings the pain with your menstrual cycle is really inflammation. So not necessarily the flow itself. So if you can tame down inflammation, then the pain will be better. So I put her on Advil, anti-inflammatory and not pain meds. So she's getting by. The 13-year-old is getting by. So it might not necessarily be because your child is on the spectrum. I'm just saying that, just know that this is also a very generalized thing here in the United States with girls. And if they can over medicate these children, they will. But so this is where you also come in as an advocate for your kid. I don't want to go into immunization, but I spaced my children's vaccines, immunization. I believe wholeheartedly that, we should vaccinate kids, but I had a problem with the scheduling. I compared what they were doing in Europe. My sister-in-law is a medical doctor in Australia, and there's a lot of medical people around me. And so I just decided I was going to space the schedule. And so if your pediatrician has a problem with, and it's usually a window. So if they say that the kid needs to take a vaccine between 6 months and 9 months, I don't have to give them, if there's like four of them they have to take at 6 months, I choose two for 6 months and we come back in 8 months and take another one. We will do them within the window. I'm just saying I'm not going to have you give four vaccines in one visit. And just respectfully advocate for yourself and say, I'm for vaccines, but I want to space them. The same goes for every other medication they're going to put your kids on. So, yeah.
Thank you so
Thank
much. There
you.
are so many comments around you are coming back, Dr. Han. But I am going to ask respectfully when the time is right. So like, yes, you are coming back. We so much enjoyed
Thank you.
listening to
Absolutely.
you. Thank you so much for also being so gracious with the way that you are answering those questions. I have Sister Tinuke's hand up. Sister Tinuke, you have the floor.
Good afternoon, everyone. Sorry, it took me a minute to unmute myself there. So I was just hearing, the different speakers talk, ask questions, and, it's just been very emotional for me as well. To just hear all of these things from different people. But I just wanted to ask, how can other mothers, obviously hearing this as well and hearing the stories from other people. And, I feel like sometimes people are not as gracious, even, me inclusive, of the things that other people go through. But I wanted to find out, like, how can we be that community for other mothers? And I think I wanted to actually really, really drill this down to the specifics of someone that is on my mind. And I just wanted to find out, like, how can we be a community to those set of people when, we don't feel like we're in the position to ask or talk to them about it, or where there's just so much quietness or like there's just nothing being said to you, but it is something you have obviously seen or noticed. So any mother in the house that is going through this, that would like to share how they would like to feel supported, please let me know. Thank you.
Sister Sunike, I can say too that just speaking for myself, I think if it's something that is already established with this particular family, it's okay to walk up to a mom sometimes and just give them a hug and say, hey, mom, I just want to give you a hug. I see you. What can I do? I know that in practice, this is one thing I tell people all the time. You would not imagine what pulling a chair, sitting next to a person and just saying, hey, you want to talk? It goes a long way because you're not patronizing them. You're not saying, so sister, tell me, what is going on with this child? What have you done? Have you tried this? Listen, these parents a lot of them are going through a lot of therapy and different sessions and different things. I think me personally, what I needed most times is I needed that someone to just say, I see you. You don't have to feel me because for most people, actually, that's one word that if you're not walking in my shoes, like I would tell my nursing students all the time, stay away from telling patients, I understand. No, you don't. But you see me and I'm here. So what can I do to help you? Sounds better than I understand. That sentence is wrong on all levels, except you've walked a mile in my shoe. And I'm an oncology nurse myself. So I see people at their worst moments. So I don't know if I answered your question, starting care, but if you have any mothers in your life going through this, please go love on them. They don't necessarily want to have conversation about that next therapy or whatever it is again. If you give me a hug and all I want to do is pull you to the side and just cry on your shoulder, let it be. You don't have to say a word to me. I just need a shoulder. And I don't know if I speak for others, but I know that for me, what I needed most times was just that time out of thank you. Thank you for seeing that this is rough.
Thank you so much. Just being that listening here, just being that shoulder that moms can lean on. Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everyone. My heart is full. My heart is so full, and I am grateful for the space. Dr. Han, I am so grateful for you. Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much. We
Thank
are
you,
truly
everyone.
grateful.
Thank
We
you.
are at time today, and I know that you had mentioned that you needed to leave earlier, but I'm so sorry that we took all the time.
No, oh no.
But we do appreciate this time. I wish we had more time with you, but again, I am hopefully asking for, the permission to bring you back again sometime soon.
This
Yes,
space
but
is needed. This
thank
space,
you.
and that's what moms are saying, right? The space.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me, guys.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much for
Thank you.
coming. We truly appreciate you. And Bola, I am handing it off to you. And Bola, you may ask, ma. Oh, maybe she's far away. But I just want to take this opportunity to thank everyone who's joined the call again today. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We meet every other week, and so we'll be seeing you again in 2 weeks. But till then, I hope that you be well, like Dr. Han told us today. Please be well, grow, nurture yourself, love in yourself, take care of yourself. I do truly want to shout out to everyone who joined. I am so grateful. Thank you for the support. Your presence is an encouragement. I'll be so overwhelmed if we joined the call this morning and nobody joined. I'll be so sad, but thank you so much for joining. I do really appreciate you all from my heart. Thank you and have a blessed day. Thank you, Dr. Han. Really appreciate you. Thank you. Bye, everyone.